Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of We Talk Talent series by ETHR World. Today, we have a very special guest, Manu Widge, Head Talent Acquisition, Southeast Asia and South Asia, Huntsman Corporation. Manu is currently leading the talent acquisition for the company based out of the Malaysian headquarters. He has more than 14 years of experience and has been credited with building and leading best in class teams across diverse industries and regions. He has been instrumental in leading human resource initiatives in the domain of business partnering, employee engagement, and talent management. He firmly believes that strong organizational values and an inclusive work environment are core to the sustainable growth of business and the development of an organization. On that note, I would like to welcome Manu in today's episode. Welcome to the show, Manu.
Thank you so much for having me here. I think it's a pleasure and look forward to an engaging conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manu, for joining us. Even I'm looking forward to the very impactful conversation. And for our viewers, in today's show, we'll be talking about hybrid talent. We will be talking about multiple skills. We'll talk about employee engagement, to name a few. So I'll start with my first question, Manu. How do we redefine employer brands to attract hybrid talent in a virtual context?
Right. I think, Abid, great question. Employer branding is one of our core areas that we try to focus in terms of attracting talent and also retaining talent. Employer brand, Abid, for me is nothing but trying to send across a message to the external and the internal audience and what our core values are, what we are really made up of. If today the talent outside, the candidates, the young talent are able to understand what is Huntsman made about, what are the products that we develop, what is our culture and values, I think that in various modes of messages, via videos, via leadership interviews, via our job descriptions, via our testimonials, is what we are able to really drive employer branding. And that's how we will be able to differentiate, and we are differentiating from the rest within the industry.
Since we talk a lot about hiring and you lead talent acquisition in multiple countries, they have different culture, we have different way of working. I would like to ask you a very important question. When you hire, what kind of skills do you look for while hiring across functions? Is it technical skills, soft skills, behavior skills? Or a combination, or is there anything else that you would like to share?
Sure. So Abid, we are not a very difficult employer to work with. I think, of course, there are some core technical areas like R&D, manufacturing, where we may expect the candidate basis the demand of the role to have certain kind of technical attributes. However, the main core competency or skills are the softer skills. Yes, somebody today trying to understand how he or she can add value and at the same time grow with the organization. Grow in our sense is just not horizontal, so it's not vertical growth, it's horizontal growth also. Are you able to enjoy your time? Are you able to learn and work with diverse cultures? Is there a lot of empathy within you? We also look for leadership across all levels. Leadership is not just the responsibility of leaders with 20 plus years experience to drive within the organization. Even a young management trainee can also depict a lot of leadership values. So these are some softer aspects which we try to gauge through our interview process, if I may say. We also would like to understand the attitude and how much somebody would want to belong to the core of the role and the ownership of the role that somebody drives. I'm blessed to share. Most of us in the organization have been able to have long journeys, and that's only because we not only own up the responsibility of driving our processes within the organization, we have a strong collaborative workforce, a strong family-like culture, which helps. So these are some of the finer aspects that we try to engage and try to assess in the candidate.
Okay, so these were the core aspects, as you mentioned. You know, in this pandemic, I know there were certain waves, first, second, and third, but the pandemic is still with us, unfortunately. But it has taught us a lot of things. I think everybody will agree. And I think in professional life, we have two very important things come up after this pandemic. One is skilling, which we need to upskill, reskill ourselves. And second is employee engagement. Employees have become very necessary. They were always necessary, but now they are in the top priority list. I would like to ask you, Manu, what is employee engagement strategy? Like, what is your employee engagement strategy, and how has that changed after the pandemic?
Sure. Abid, if I may give a very honest answer, I don't think our employee engagement strategy has changed in so many years now. And I'll tell you why, because from the very forefront and whenever I recollect my first day until date, we have always been able to drive employee engagement with the employee and his or her family. For us, employee engagement means involving the family, whether it is involving the family in the success of in the success of the employee, whether he or she's got an award, whether he or she has made a mark and gone beyond the call of the duty, whether he or she needs any support from the organization, which is either an emotional or a medical support. So for us, employee engagement is sorry to say, we don't do these Friday evenings, we don't do these Friday dance and music, which of course is also impactful in many industries. But for us, employee engagement means, coming together as one collaborative family and involving the employee's family, reaching out to them. What I'll give you an existing example, Abid, if you may allow, is what we did when the pandemic started and when we knew that employees had to start working from home 24, completely 100% work from home. We called up each and every employee, and we tried to check with them if they have the right necessary infrastructure to work from home, if they have the right connectivity, if they would want to undergo certain programs, online certifications programs, if everybody at home was doing fine, do they need any kind of medical support, do you need any kind of workforce support that we can provide as an organization? So these are some finer aspects, and let me be very honest, we did not use any software for those. We picked up the phone, each and everybody in the human resources department picked up the phone and reached out to thousands of employees just to understand if they are doing good, because we care for them. So that for us is employee engagement.
Okay, so that was something very basic and important, I believe. But sometimes Friday evenings matter a lot. Just a thought.
I'm sure. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Another aspect that I would like to highlight here is, I think not only India or Asian countries, but the whole world has witnessed and they rely, that is gig economy.
Yes.
And this question is in two parts. I would like to ask your take on the gig economy. That's first. And how mature our organization, specifically in India, to capitalize on the gig economy? Your thoughts,
Sure.
please.
Sure. Thanks, Abid. I think great question, Abid. Firstly, my take on gig economy is very simple. I think we've just started taking some very concrete steps globally to identify a certain pool of talent as gig economy. Yes, earlier and more so maybe in Western countries and slightly in the Asian countries, where there were professionals who wanted to juggle their personal priorities, juggle their professional priorities, didn't want to really get just focused with one organization as such. They had multiple priorities, and hence we used to call them, if I may say, freelancers, right? But today we are having a much more focused approach. And why is that? Because companies are trying to look at their talent structures in a much different way. So yes, I think gig economy globally has taken the right steps. My view on India, I think certain industries are starting to now benefit out of it. One of them is banking, the other is IT for sure. Yes, because those are the industries which has a lot of turnover, which has a lot of churning of talent, and hence they definitely have started taking the right steps. We would also at a certain point of time want to look at them once we feel that there are certain roles which definitely would not need somebody to be closer to the business, where these are much more operational business, where these are much more automated roles as such, and where gig economy would also play a larger piece in the specialty chemical industry. In a humorous way, I could say the contract employees that we take, at the manufacturing side, in a way they could be turned at the third party contractors. In a way they could be turned as gig economy, but there's a still long way to go to recognize them as one. Yes.
Okay. So good point on gig economy. And I have my last question for you. And since you are in the TA space and you lead a talent acquisition, what do you see as the biggest challenge in TA space now? And how do you plan to overcome that?
Sure. I think Abid, it's an evolving question. It's an evolving answer. But if I can give you my 2 cents, I think the biggest challenge today is to keep the workforce engaged, to keep the workforce motivated. Because what COVID has done in certain industries, it has given a lot of time to organizations to rethink their talent strategy, rethink their business strategies as well. Because of which the kind of the quantity of roles that shouldn't have been available in the market is not there, and hence today we talk about the great resignation. We talk about a wave of jobs coming up in the near future, which can also be true. So with that, I think it is very much important that the organizations start taking the right step in recognizing talent at regular intervals, keeping them engaged not only from a role perspective, but also trying to upskill them within the organization, help them drive their true potential, if that is possible. So that's I think one half of the question. So I think Abid, what we've been able to really do very well is we've been able to have a very strong global mobility program. Yeah, by what do I mean by a global mobility program is we are able to drive roles within the organization where we know that at a certain point of time an employee can add more value in a certain role, in a certain region, in a certain different department. Also, our hiring strategy from day one, Abid, is pretty simple. We do not hire somebody to fill in a role for immediate need. We try to look at potential that he or she can add value in the next 3 to 4 years with some development needs that the organization and the leaders can fulfill. So I think it's a very plain strategy where we continue to be engaged with our employee workforce and try to give them opportunities and try to keep them driven in their approach for their professional journey as long as they are with Huntsman.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Manu, for sharing your thoughts. And I'll definitely take my takeaway from this conversation would be keep the workforce motivated and keep them engaged. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That was Manu Widge. It was very, very nice hosting you, Manu. Look forward to meeting you again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Abid. It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.